I'm Cloudy, and today I am gonna show you what would I pick if I could only keep 5 eyeshadow palettes in my collection. I guarantee that you don't know that I don't have a big eyeshadow palette collection. I have like 20 to 25 eyeshadow palettes, but in fact I could never use them all up in my lifetime. But if I could only keep 5, maybe someday I move to another place and I would have to pack everything. I could only keep 5, or someday I would pass these 5 to my daughter, maybe. I mean, in a nutshell, they are my top picks when I want to curate my collection. And I feel like these 5 ones right in here are just enough for me to do every look that I want, and they are really me. Okay, let's get into it. The first one that I pick is the Aether Beauty Amethyst Crystal Gemstone palette, and this is my favorite. I love this palette so much. This is the color story. I hope you guys can see that this is a very purple, mauve toned palette. And hey, if you don't know that, I'm Cloudy and I love purple. And these are the shades that I regularly use on my daily basis. But hey, I'm not wearing any eyeshadow right now. It's definitely not a very appropriate time to talk about eyeshadow, but hey, I'll do it anyway. This palette is really pretty. I think it stays more on the neutral cool tone side of the spectrum of purple, and I love it. The most unique thing about this palette is the 4 shades in the middle. They are very shimmering, sparkling. You can use them alone over your lids, or you can just like top it to create like a eyeshadow topper situation. Sadly, this palette is discontinued, and the brand, I think the name of the brand is not spelled like this anymore, Aether Beauty, but I think they still carry eyeshadow in their line right now. So if you want to check out their formulation, this is really good. And I think I would want to try more of this eyeshadow quality. It's my top 1 favorite, honestly. The second one is In A Trance by Colourpop. It's from the Tarte collection, which I believe didn't receive a lot of positive reviews, and I genuinely don't understand why. I think the quality of this palette is really nice, and maybe it's only because I don't own a lot of Colourpop palettes, so the one that I try is truly good to me and I can really use them. Maybe I should try more, but hey, we can only buy so much, right? And the Colourpop releases are, you know, the speed. So this is the color story. I hope you guys can see. It's really gorgeous. And by the way, this is my favorite shade of purple. This is me in the form of an eyeshadow palette. The color is on point, and you know, it's just cute. The color story is so good, you guys. It's a mixture of pinks and purple and blue, and I believe the undertone is really great in this palette in the way that you can look at the pastel blue and pastel purple and pastel pink in here. Their undertones are match. It's like you can really work them together. You can really make them work into a very cohesive look because they look different. They have different colors, but the undertone and I don't know, the way they are arranged here makes everything look so well grounded, in my opinion. And by the way, I'm gonna try to insert some looks that I have created with these palettes. Yeah, my editing skill is pretty low right now, so I'll try my best. But I think everything works really, really well on me, and I love it. Specifically this shade right here, I believe is a super shock formula, and everyone loves it, I believe. It has a very translucent base with purple and blue and pink reflect, and it's perfect. I look at these mattes and I can put them all over my lid, and then I top it with shade. It's just perfect. It's so yummy. I don't care about the pressed glitter at the center like everyone else doesn't, so but it wouldn't stop me from loving this palette. This palette is really cute and the quality is great. The next one is from a K-beauty brand. The brand is Etude House. I don't think that you can get this palette anymore because this is a limited edition. It's in the collaboration with Hershey. They have two palettes. The other one is Cookie and Cream, and this is just the original, the Hershey's original. And this is what it looks like inside. It's a basic palette. Yeah. And I think there's a main theme of Korean beauty that they want every look to be really soft and very dreamy, and the eye look, if they ever do it, they want it to be super simple and kind of I would say, I don't know, it's just very, very, very basic, and it doesn't have to be complicated or unique to be good. This is a gray palette. And okay, now I remember what I wanted to say. Very beautiful, very sheer. Look at these mattes in here. They look quite, I mean, mid-tone on the pan, but you really, really have to build them up to get this intensity. And maybe it's a plus point. I think this palette is really, really easy to use. I add this one into the top 5 in here because of this glitter topper right in the middle, because it's so nice. It's way better than the chunky, really, really large particle glitter of the Colourpop. I'm not a huge fan of that big chunky one, but this is so fine. With this glitter shade, I think you, even when you really, really desire to go overboard, to go hammer, exaggerated with it, you cannot even do that because it's just so fine and so subtle, but has enough oomph into it. And yeah, and like when it comes to a day that I don't really want to think much about what I would want to wear, I rarely wear neutral or like chocolatey brown like this. But if I want to do a very simple look, something easy and foolproof, I think I'll go with this one. And the next one is from an indie brand. It's from Nomad Cosmetics, and the palette is Berlin Underground. I'm sorry. And this palette is really unique in my collection. This is the intricate type of eyeshadow palette that when I want to do something super interesting, something novel, something out of the world, something really gives me a really relaxed and aesthetic time, I would go for this. It's a very grungy, I could say fall toned eyeshadow palette in my opinion, although I have never experienced fall or autumn or that kind of weather in my entire life, because I live in a country that doesn't have that privilege to enjoy seasons. So, but I know a lot of people love this palette to create fall looks, and it's kind of in the color story. The formula in here is really interesting. The shimmer in here are duochromes, I believe, but not the kind of super reflective and kind of, I mean, shifty duochrome. You can still see the shift, but it's very subtle, so the looks always turn out to be so romantic. And you know, they are duochrome, but not all over the place. Yeah, I don't know how to describe that, but this color story is so perfect. And you know, I have a weird thought on my mind, and I don't know whether I should say this, but every time I look at this palette, the inside and the packaging, I think of the United States. It's a country. I don't know. Maybe it's the army green in here, and then kind of the brown toned, and then the very strong green accent in this palette that makes me think of the United States in the color of their army uniform, although it is named Berlin. But I don't know, I have never been into those two countries, or maybe I am just delusional. The last one. Okay, the last one. This is gonna surprise a lot of people because it's from the brand Tarte, and I think they lost their magic. I mean, in 2016 to 2017, those are the days that I first knew about makeup, and everyone talked about this brand. Like, sometimes I think they are still up to their game, or maybe the releases that they have done recently look so similar to the ones that they have been doing all the time. But if it's repetitive, that's a problem. Yeah, you can be like just a basic or simple or kind of natural everyday, but it's good if you take a chance to change the inspiration, the idea behind your product a little bit, so that it's not that redundant. I would think about that. It's just so complicated. Let's talk about the palette instead. I'm being nonsense. Never mind, I dropped this palette once and I damaged some of the shades in here, but the rest is really fine. I'm gonna say this, and I stand by my statement. So prove me wrong or change my mind, doing whatever you want to do. But in my opinion, I owned the ABH Modern Renaissance, and I think the matte formula in here is better than that in the ABH palette. Crazy, right? It's just the fact that I want my matte shadows not to be so creamy and powdery and has a lot of kickback in the pan. That really frustrates me every time I use. I want something that a little bit drier but still blendable, and that's exactly what inside of this palette. When you swatch them, and I believe it's kind of a thing when it comes to Tarte eyeshadow formula, they don't do it super creamy. It's a little bit dry, but it always blendable, and it blends beautifully into my crease. And like I said, I have 16 matte shades in here. I don't care about the shimmer, I don't care about anything else. If I want to do a look, I go for this palette to create a matte base, kind of do the crease and then deepening it up, or use these very beigey toned in here to set my to set the concealer that I put on. And I can never fail using this palette. Like, I tried. It's almost impossible to create a bad look with this palette. Everything is gonna come out decent to great, and that's what I need. I don't know, it's just a weird thing. Sometimes I don't go for the best, I just go for the most acceptable. And like I said, that's what I need in life. When the day is down, I don't want to ruin the entire sentiment towards a palette by creating a shitty look when I have no intention, when I have no energy, when I have no warm feeling to put in that look. And that's when this kind of these palette comes into place to fill the void of me wanting to play with makeup and not hurting the true passion, the true love of me towards the product. And once again, I'm being nonsense. Anyway, so we finished. I show you the 5 palettes that I would keep if I could only keep 5. And yeah, I just hope you enjoy watching this video. I know it's a little bit crazy. I just sit down and film this, but if I didn't, I think I would go crazy. So yeah, I feel good after filming this. Strange, but once again, I'm cloudy, and I'm really glad that you watched this, and hopefully we'll see each other again. Bye.